Welcome back to the Squared Circle Psychobabble. Michael Valenti alongside Ralph Valenti, and it is our new segment we call Shoot or Work, where we talk about the latest news and rumors in the world of professional wrestling. We have to start off with the big news that happened earlier today, where John Cena introduced his sixth move of doom. And I know you're laughing about it because this has got to be the stupidest finisher in the history of finishing moves, but it's also the greatest thing at the same time. So the video gets released by someone on Twitter, and basically what it does is after the AA, he gets up in this like Bruce Lee, like, whoa, kind of thing, crosses his arms, ready to do this move. And all it was like a back punch.
Yeah.
It was the stupidest thing. And it got the victory.
Yep.
It was the finisher.
Poor Elias.
Poor Elias got beat by the sixth move of doom. I didn't see an official name to the move yet.
No, I didn't see a name.
But
you could tell the crowd was definitely anticipating something, and as soon as he did it, they were just like, "Oh,
what? Like, really? That's it?" So, shoot or work, Ralph. John Cena just trolled the IWC.
I'm gonna go with shoot. If that really is the sixth move of doom, and he's not preparing to really, bring out another move after that. Whatever. It was what it was. It made for a funny moment. It was a bit of a letdown for the crowd, though.
I mean, yes, it was a letdown for the crowd, but, I mean, this was an absolute troll job. I'm saying shoot as well, but I would love for him to continue this.
No,
I would love for him to do this just to keep,
Maybe on house shows it'd be cool. If he starts doing this in the middle of a pay-per-view, though, and legitimately beating guys,
hey, I mean,
I don't like it.
It's a finisher. It does what it does. Maybe because of, look how jacked he is now. Or I shouldn't say jacked, but like, look how
he's got a new hairdo too.
He's got a new hairdo. He's all lean muscles. So maybe this punch, which looks weak, maybe is very strong. So, but yeah, it's definitely a troll job for the IWC that constantly is complaining about his 5 moves of doom, now 6. Speaking of a former opponent of John Cena,
right?
The Rock has come back, maybe, to Smackdown. The rumor is that he is returning to the WWE for Smackdown 1000 in mid-October. Shoot or work, the show title that's named after The Rock's catchphrase. The Rock will be back at Smackdown 1000.
I'm going to go with shoot on this. He's expressed wanting to come back to the WWE, do a little bit of work with them. And if he's going to come back, I'd imagine he'd come back to represent the blue brand, and that'd make for a really cool moment, especially if it's going to be SmackDown's 1000th episode. So, yeah, I'm going to go with shoot on that.
I mean, it has to happen. The show is named after his catchphrase, layeth the Smackdown, from when he was in the Attitude Era. And if he's not there, it's very similar to when Austin wasn't on Raw, Raw 1000. So I say this is a shoot as well. And maybe starts if the rumor is that he'll be at WrestleMania 35, maybe we start seeing whatever the plan is for that.
Right.
I know
rumors going around that he's going to be the favorite to win the Royal Rumble, but
I heard that, and he could be the winner of the Royal Rumble, which means he'll face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 35.
No thanks.
But I have a different story on who should win the Royal Rumble, who I think is going to win the Royal Rumble, and I think that's Daniel Bryan. I think Daniel Bryan's going to win the Royal Rumble because The Miz is going to be your next WWE champion. We talked about that last week, and that's going to be your main event at WrestleMania 35 if they don't pull the trigger on Flair versus Rousey. Now, someone that is also over with the crowd right now, despite being a heel, is Becky Lynch. And there's a little bit of talk going in the back that the whole heel turn has been dropped in the storyline with Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
So now, instead of it being that Flair is the obvious babyface and Becky Lynch is the obvious heel, they are just two friends that just want the title.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a fight over the championship.
Yeah.
So, shoot or work, the WWE may finally be listening to their audience with this Becky Lynch thing.
I'm going to say work. I think we touched on this last week. The problem, I think, with Charlotte is she's getting, the fans are thinking that she's getting the Roman Reigns treatment. And I say that because her last name is Flair.
Yep.
And I say that because she's already a seven-time
women's champion. The same amount as Trish Stratus.
Okay. And here's the problem. As soon as the fans get even the slightest feeling that you're slightly pushing somebody down their throat,
yep,
that's it. They're going to regurgitate all over, spit it right back on you. And I do think Charlotte's going to end up getting a little damaged out of this whole thing, whether they decide to flip it or not. I'll say this much. Becky Lynch was a very good face, very good in the ring, decent on the mic, but sometimes people are better suited as a heel.
Right.
I was a little bit on the fence on this, and I was even critical of WWE because I think Charlotte does make a better heel than Becky Lynch, but she's been doing a really good job. She cut a really good promo 2 weeks ago. Her promo last week was very good when she came out and
called Flair a bitch.
Yeah, you bitch. I thought it was great. I mean, I like it. I'm into it. Whether they booed Becky or they cheer Becky, it doesn't matter. As long as the crowd is invested in it and you have the payoff, which they're going to have a good match whenever you have the blow-off, Becky will probably get the belt at some point, and if it's in the right town and the feeling is right, whether she's a face or a heel, it doesn't matter. If they want to see the belt go on her, people are going to cheer. So before I decide whether this is a shoot or work, let me ask you this. What's the difference between Becky Lynch and Roman Reigns? Because basically what you're saying is if they feel that Becky Lynch is suitable for the belt, they're going to put it on her. Yep.
And it doesn't matter whether she's booed or cheered, they're going to put the belt on her. Then what's the difference with Roman Reigns? Because
ready for this? Becky Lynch is over. Roman Reigns is not. That's it.
No,
he's not over. That's the truth. Not over. I don't care how many T-shirts he sells to little kids, how many babies he kisses, how many moms he hugs in the front row. He's important for the company because of all those things. And he's important because his mere presence in a main event, you're going to get a reaction whether he's booed or cheered. And if you put him in there with the right person, you're automatically going to get that good chemistry from the crowd. Becky Lynch is over with the right people, and Roman Reigns is not over with the right people. And that is the difference between those two people.
Now, I will say this. Is WWE listening to their audience? I'm going to say, no. Shoot. This is a shoot.
So you think they're going to flip the script?
I think they're going to flip the script. Becky will at least be, I don't want to say a complete face. I think they are going to go towards like a Stone Cold Steve Austin kind of thing. Okay?
Okay.
Because Stone Cold Steve Austin, a lot of the things that he did were not face things.
Correct.
He was a heel that just got cheered a lot.
Yeah.
And I think this is the same thing with Becky Lynch. She is going to be a heel that gets cheered a lot. And this will be, especially in a time where they're trying to push the women's revolution or evolution, whatever you want to call it. This is the time to have a Stone Cold Steve Austin-like character, to put some eyeballs on the screen for women's wrestling. Becky Lynch is that person to do this right now, especially after someone whose legacy is her father right now. She is her father's legacy right now, carrying the torch over for women's wrestling now with Charlotte Flair, and they are going to have an amazing match. I agree with you. So
I don't want to cut you off, but let me offer you this. Suppose Becky Lynch does not take the belt off Charlotte at any point, and she is still on her quest to win the title. You turn Ronda, because I said Ronda could be better.
You're really on this Ronda
turn. She should be a heel, because if she becomes a heel and they legitimately try to establish her as the badass that she's supposed to be, imagine how special the moment would be if Becky does not win the belt, but she ends up winning the Women's Royal Rumble, going on to WrestleMania, and taking the belt off Ronda. How special that moment would be.
So you're saying Lynch instead of Flair in that match?
Yes.
I mean, it would be a great moment, but again, this is the WWE we're talking about here, the marketing and trying to get people to watch. Becky Lynch, if this was 2020, I could see it. But going into 2019, where it's WrestleMania 35 in MetLife Stadium, I think they still want to do Flair versus Ronda. So
maybe.
And don't get me wrong, things can change now. We're in August of 2018, so a lot can change between now and 2019. But we have seen that that does not always happen.
As long as there's no more pull-apart brawls. And what a shame that Asuka's been diminished to the point where her first appearance on Smackdown is breaking up a pull-apart brawl.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a mockery in itself. That's
yes,
a shame.
It is a shame, but I've always been a believer of if they don't have anything for you, it's better to keep you hidden than
exactly. Keep her off TV.
Yes, I agree. And kind of the pull apart brawl, it was noticeable just because of who she is that she was there.
That's the problem.
That is a big problem. But at the same time, you got the Flair and Lynch storyline, and that's really it. Like, what are you gonna do with Asuka? You can't do anything with her, and it sucks that was her first appearance since she lost to Carmella at Extreme Rules. So, but I mean,
anyway,
at the end of the day, I think this is a shoot. They are listening to their fans, not just with Becky Lynch. Obviously, Rusev got a main event, a championship match recently. I think,
Samoa Joe got his
shot.
I think SmackDown's been actually enjoyable the past month or so, a couple months. And
to those things there, and I think they're just slowly building that up. And the New Day getting the tag titles back.
Good match.
They are the most popular tag team. They should have the belts until someone more popular can take it from them.